Belararox is active in the relatively high Andes of Argentina near the Chilean border. That picture is taken from about 3,600 meters. Fortunately, our projects only go up to about 4,500 meters, not as high as some. We're working and exploring for large porphyry copper deposits. As you may know, copper deposits or porphyry deposits supply on an annual basis 70% of the global copper. We're very close to the Argentine-Chile border, and northern Chile, a small belt of 200 kilometers north-south, supplies more than 30% of the world's copper. So indeed, we are exploring for elephants in elephant country. I'll let you read that at your leisure. Belararox is not backwards about coming forward with respect to releasing things on the ASX, YouTube, mining.com.au put out an article, so you can find out more about us should you choose. That's a lovely picture looking towards the Argentine-Chile border, so looking towards the west. Just to the south or to the left of that picture, you would have Veladero, a very large Barrick gold mine that's been producing for almost 20 years, 11 million ounces of gold. So we're in a region known for large deposits, and we'll talk more about some of the recent discoveries made to the north, which BHP has contributed and is investing in. It's the right place to look for large copper, gold, silver deposits, perhaps some molybdenum as well. The exploration team is not only from Argentina, and these guys have worked to the north at Filo del Sol in the Barrick region for Lundin, Filo Corporation, but also the Ecuadorians and a Colombian geologist who were involved in the discovery with myself and Jason Ward, one of the directors, the discovery of the giant Alpala copper gold silver porphyry deposit in northern Ecuador. And that's been discovered in the last 10 years. 25 million ounces of gold, 25 billion pounds of copper, and 90 million ounces of silver. Why do I brag about that? Because these guys, the team we've assembled, know what to look for. In fact, they've been involved in 3 major discoveries in Ecuador in the past decade. They're fully competent and they're confident. And lastly, we've got 2 very good projects, Malambo and Tambo South, and they're drill ready, and once the snow melts so we can get in some road construction, we'll be planning to drill that in the final quarter of this year. Now the board of directors, this company's only been, it was floated in July 2022. It started on a project in Bellara, New South Wales, Bullabuling in Western Australia, but has pivoted since about 1.5 years ago to work in the land of the giant porphyry copper deposits in Argentina. So you may recognize the board of directors. Neil Warburton is no stranger to Kalgoorlie. He came here in 1974 to start at the WA School of Mines. He's had more than 40 years of experience. He was chief executive officer of Barminco, and he received the G.J. Stoker Memorial Award at last year's conference. Arvind Misra, over 30 years in the industry. Both he and Neil are mining engineers. Arvind's been involved in Australia, in Africa, in India, helping build many profitable mines. Jason Ward, he was the president and director of Sol Gold in Ecuador. He and I worked together with a team to discover the Alpala deposit. He vended in and brought these first-class properties in Argentina, which he had assembled over the last 20 years, living in and out of Argentina. It's an amazing land package. And so he then has vended that in and become a director. And John Trakos, a lawyer with over 30 years of experience, helping Australian companies primarily, working in Australia and South Africa and Indonesia. We have sort of a part-time management. Ben Donovan is the company secretary. Graham Morrissey, who works for other ASX-listed companies, is our chief financial officer. I'm the chief technical advisor, which involves at least 2 trips a year to Argentina to the project sites. Jason Keys is now on the board of directors of the AIG, and our Argentinian component, Arturo Guardiola and Yanina Ejarcu, and they've been involved for at least 15 years in this region and have worked for companies like NGEX that have made discoveries north of the project area. We have about 85 million shares. It's pretty tightly held. The board of directors and investors such as CPS Capital, RM Capital, Evolution Capital, and Yours Hartley are all contributing. So the top 20 shareholders control about 50% of the shares. We're a steal at 25 to 26 cents with a fairly diminutive market cap of 22 million. Okay, so we are in the land of the giants. You can see in red there, that's the projects that are held. It's about 34,000 hectares. And then to the south, it's Veladero, been producing almost 20 years, 11 million ounce gold deposit. Pascua-Lama, another giant deposit that's been put on hold, not due to the problems with the geology. Other deposits that have been discovered in the last decade, Taguas, Valerina, El Encirio in Chile. You can see that black line. To the left is Chile, and to the right is Argentina. And then the real success story, about 40 kilometers north of our tenement, is Filo del Sol. Just 1.3 kilometers at 1.33% copper equivalent. All right. They stopped drilling at about 1.45 kilometers. They still had mineralization. Now that recently in the last week, BHP and the Lundin Group have contributed 4.5, or offered and will contribute 4.5 billion Canadian to take over Filo Corp. Lunahuasi, Jose Maria, another $4 billion being invested by the Lundin Group for that porphyry. So to summarize, great place for large and high-grade gold, copper, silver deposits. And you can see there's this gap region between those yellow dots. That gap has been closing over the last 10 years. San Juan province in Argentina has become the flavor of the month. It's a great jurisdiction, hasn't always been the case. And through Jason Ward, we have a great land package. Now, we have generated largely from Aster and Sentinel-2 data, 12 targets there, as you can see the scale. We've investigated 5 of those, Toro South, Toro North, Central, Malambo, and Tambo South. And out of those, Tambo South and Malambo are clear porphyry systems which need to be drill tested. So we're pretty excited. And indeed, you can casually see these deposits, such as Filo del Sol, 40 kilometers north of us, one of our better properties, Tambo Sur, and Toro. You can see these using Google Earth. These rocks are really altered. They're white, they're yellow, they're pink, there's weathered and oxidized pyrite making jarosite. And so we've compared, putting on the promotional hat, we've compared the size of the Filo del Sol footprint, and you can see that mineral resource there, all right, of which there's 1.4 kilometer vertical column running more than 1.33% in one of their better drill holes. And you can compare it the same size to our anomaly at Tambo Sur. So that's about 1.6 by 1.5 kilometers. And those colors mean blue is a lot of muscovite, phyllic alteration. Yellow is advanced argillic paraphyllite. And the red, most importantly, is the weathering jarosite after sulfides, predominantly pyrite. So it's not only a lot of alteration, it's a lot of metals. Okay, and sure, a big sulfur anomaly. And so you see also Toro North there in the south, which is only 45 kilometers north of the Barrick Veladero Haul Road. We can see our various colors of blue, phyllic, yellow, paraphyllite, and importantly, red jarosite after sulfides. All right, so what we've done is we've gone in and identified those 5 targets out of the 12, mapped them, and 2 of them have come up to be large porphyry systems. This is a cross-section through Malambo. It's got a north-south extent of over 1 kilometer by about 800 meters. We haven't drilled it. So what we have here is a conceptual section drawn by the geologists using structural intersections and mapping out the intrusions and the things you usually look for: potassic alteration, chloride sericite alteration, phyllic alteration, quartz vein abundance, fracture abundance. All these things that we've learned over the years make a large, high-grade porphyry system. And now we've got a drill target, which we will test. That's about a cubic kilometer, or a square kilometer, run it north-south by a kilometer, cubic kilometer, which we want to put in about 3 drill holes through the middle of it just to see what we get. We have interesting zoning. It's not just geology that makes it good. We have quite a bit of molybdenum at surface. Now, you might say, well, that's molybdenum greater than 5 ppm, extends about a kilometer north-south by 600 meters east-west. We're not mining molybdenum, but molybdenum is a classic pathfinder. It doesn't get remobilized by weathering like copper or zinc. It sticks around. So you can have a depleted zone in copper, but have moly greater than 5, and that is your drill target. And that geochemistry happens to agree very well with all our geological anomalies. And then what one can do here, you can go to places in North America where they've got deep mines, or they have deposits that have been tilted on their sides, such as Yarrington in Nevada, where you can actually see from the paleo surface down to 5 or 6 kilometers. And then you can go ahead and run an algorithm. This is done by a fellow in America, Dan Core, to how well does the zoning of elements, not just molybdenum, copper, tin, tungsten, arsenic, antimony, lithium, thallium, bismuth, selenium, tellurium, 11 different elements, how well does the distribution of that match these deposits? So perfect match would be 1. The best I've ever seen is 0.4. The Apollo discovery, 600 meters below surface, 1 billion tons of 1.5% copper equivalent, that was a 0.25 from soil sample, surface sample results. So these results here are colluvium and rocks. So you see that's a kilometer for scale. We've got a compelling target that we want to test, that basically that sits in there. So we've done what we can. Now what we have to do is bring out the truth machine and drill it. It's got the size, it's got the coherency, it's got the geology, and we need to now find any economic concentration of metals. Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to jump right clear here because I'm seeing we've only got 1.5 minutes. Good metal zoning, as I said, because I'm going to get you to a movie. The size is important, over 1,100 meters by 600 meters. This compares in size to the molybdenum anomalies we had in Apollo, which have 3.6 billion tons of ore there. We have another target. Again, you can see all that colored alteration. And that's about 1.6 kilometers strike length along a major fault. We have some very interesting zones. There we are. The team up there very happy the first week on the project up there. And we have areas of interest with potassic zone, quartz veinlets, the Malali anomaly greater than 6 ppm. All, again, the essential ingredients. One looks for a porphyry. Good zoning with not high values, but pointed copper, reasonable molybdenum, and good gold over silver, which tells us we're close to the hotter part of the system. Again, we can do 3D modeling on that, and we know the volume we need to test right beneath the zones of potassic alteration and high vein abundance. Now I'm going to quickly take you through a movie. All right, and this is zooming in from space using Google Earth, going right towards the Chile-Argentine border, and there's San Juan City where we have our office. All right, and then you can see all the deposits, El Indio belt to the south, and the Maracunga belt to the north, and you can see there's Veladero, there's Pascua-Lama, further north, Filo del Sol. We're going to zoom right into that first anomaly or target, Malambo, which is a series of intrusions, and you can see the scale will pop up there. That's about 1.5 kilometers north to south for that orange polygon of diorite. Then we're going to go ahead and look at all that color. That's just fantastic, just on Google Earth, right? There's a kilometer for scale. There's our samples. There's gold at low values. That's okay. It's giving you a focus in the southern part of the area. Copper, also low values. That's fine. It's still a focus. Look at that lead halo. Lead likes to go outside to the colder parts of the system. The size is the important thing here. And look at the molybdenum. Okay, and we know that's a large size, kilometer by 600 meter molybdenum anomaly, greater than 5 ppm in rock. There's our conceptual cross-section with some conceptual drill holes to test it. There are 3-dimensional models based upon Scott Howley's work and Julia Cohen's work. So there's the column we want to test. We're not going to go down to 2 kilometers, don't worry. We're going to start with being able to get to 1 kilometer. Hopefully we'll get something higher than that, but we want to have the grunt and the rods to get down deep. From my experience, that's important. We drill holes as deep as 2.7 kilometers at Apollo. So now we'll leave Malambo and we'll go 10 kilometers to the north. Again, look at all that color. This is all alteration. It's just amazing. And there's the Tambo South project, 1.6 kilometers of strike length of all that light gray alteration. And there we're zoomed in. And then you can see the little purple guy in the western side there. Oops, oh dear. Now, how do I get past this quickly? Oh, I'm very sorry, but is there any way we can get to the movie with about 1 minute to go? Well, I guess not. Okay, what you'll see there, I was too hasty. A similar sort of thing for Malambo, all right? everything fits together. You got the alteration, you got the veining, you got the fractures, you got the geochemistry. It's just begging for some drill holes. So we've planned 6,000 meters, all right, to drill starting in November. And you can see there what we've done, our target generation, mapping, and we've mapped and found 5 of the 12 targets. What remains to be done now after the snow melts is we get in there and open up the roads again, extend the roads, put in the drill pads, and in tandem, in parallel with the drilling, which will start in November, which should go through April, we'll use 2 rigs, all right, to make certain we get through it all. We're going to do mapping and of the additional other targets, do some drone-based magnetics, and then go through the cycle. So the whole idea is to knock over targets quickly. Hopefully one of those 2 big porphyry systems, they'll give us enough interest that we can drill more in each one. But if not, we're not wed to it. We've got other targets to assess. But that's just all since last October, getting on the ground last October, and we've already got 2 targets that are large, compelling, and ready to be drill tested. Thank you for your patience.